As South Africa grapples with hunger and widespread unemployment, humanitarian organizations and feeding schemes are struggling to stay afloat as costs escalate. COVID-19, the Russia invasion of Ukraine and the July unrest here at home are just some of the factors that have made the situation worse for most people. Let's discuss further now what can be done to try and at least sustain these organizations, because they are important for the sustenance of ordinary people, especially people who have nowhere else to turn. And I'm joined by Molefi, Takalo, CEO of Red Cross South Africa. Mr. Takalo, thank you very much for your time. It's a tough discussion to have, but how bad is the situation when it comes to funding for organizations like yours?
No, thanks very much, Mr. Mugambi, and good morning to your viewers at home. And once again, thanks for having us. Look, it's very tough. I'm sure you will understand that in our sector as NGOs, we're not profit-making. We're relying entirely on businesses and government and individuals to support our work. And I'm sure, like you mentioned earlier on in your introduction, that the current prevailing, economic situation globally has affected us even quite badly. I mean, I'm sure ordinarily it's common cause that if you're going to be having a global pandemic like we had just in the recent past, and just coming out of the economic downturns, I don't know how many times we were declared a junk status by the creating ratings agencies, yeah. Yes, and also I'm sure just recently we had this sporadic unrest that happened in 2 provinces, and I'm sure just now the Ukraine, like you mentioned, Ukraine and Russia, and its effect on the price of food, as well as the price of oil and petrol, that has actually hit us very bad. So in a nutshell, businesses, individuals and families are affected. Therefore, it directly affects the contributions we're making, they're making towards the work that we do as an organization. So it really is very dire.
We'll come to what exactly you help with when it comes to families that have nowhere else to turn but to organizations like yourself for help. But let's start with just how bad the economic situation is in terms of funding. My understanding is that yours is an international organization. Funding, therefore, would extend beyond South Africa, and, other countries are there to help out. Are you saying that funding is also squeezed when it comes to international funders?
No, absolutely. Look, and the assumption is correct. We are an international organization, and we have our mother body in Geneva, in Switzerland. And of course, not only domestically, like you mentioned, internationally, we are supported by donors and funders. And because no country has actually been spared by this current prevailing economic circumstances, therefore it affects even some of the major donors. Of course, we are getting support, but it's not the same. It's not like I'm saying it's all doom and gloom. We are still getting support, but it's not the same anymore, because of this situation that we spoke about. In partnership with our mother national societies, like in other countries. Those are the countries, whenever there's a problem and we seem to be hitting the brick wall, we make a call and they come to our rescue. I'm sure you must have seen just recently in the KZN with the floods, we had the Qatar Red Cross that came to our rescue and delivered a consignment. And that was basically for the disaster in Durban. It was not even sufficient because internally we don't have that capacity to cater for all the people that were affected by the floods in the KZN. So it's not the same. Look, when you talk of the services that we render, we respond to disasters in terms of mitigating the impact, and also prepare the disaster preparedness programs that we have. But not only that, there's also we cater for children, we cater for old age homes, we cater for the homeless, we cater for a number of people. So that support that I spoke about earlier on was only in relation to the disaster that took place in the KZN. But with regard to all the other services, we are really serious, experiencing some serious challenges.
What avenues have you previously looked to for funding locally now, I mean domestically, and what has subsequently happened given the current circumstances in the country? Are you literally being told, no money, sorry, we can't help?
No, absolutely. In some other instances, that's what we get. And it's not like we are also even shocked, because when we knock on doors and we know the situation, we can't behave like we are, excluded from what is happening around us. So you will knock on doors and you will be told, no, we can't support this time. And you walk to the next one, you will get support. It won't be the same as what you're expecting, but, a 1 cent is better than nothing. So it is currently the situation. And you know what it does? It basically, when you look at the beneficiaries that we are supposed to be helping out there, we have had to take up to about 50% cut of the number of people that, yes, 50% even lesser, of the number of people that were assisting throughout the country. And in some other instances, we have had to even lose staff members. We have lost the professionals in this regard who are dealing with the frail and care in the old age homes. Nurses obviously are professionals. They can be employed elsewhere.
Yeah.
So we lost some of those, and quite also frankly, we even are not even attracting volunteers, because I'm sure you would know that we are a volunteer-based organization. We've lost volunteers. You can't attract volunteers because what are you going to offer them? So basically what it means is we are seriously between the rock and the hard place. How would you attract a volunteer and not be able to even give them stipend for transportation, even for cosmetic products and things like those, and you expect those people to go into communities and inspire hope.
Yeah. The dangers, as we wrap up our discussion, the dangers of allowing organizations such as yours to completely shut down. What do you think? Have you seen that before in perhaps other countries where NGOs were simply allowed to close their doors? What has been the resultant impact?
I can tell you now, because I've been in the NGO sector for quite some time, and I've also worked for government, by the way, in some other province. I have seen NGOs closing down in my face when I was a government official, as a result of unavailability of funds, and I've seen the existing NGOs that were able to carry on having to carry the burden of the other NGOs that have had to close down. It's going to be very devastating for the beneficiaries. I'm sure you would know that government is actually responsible for social welfare programs, but I'm sure government does not have the complete capacity. We have to assist government. Yeah. So if government is not going to have that capacity to cater for everybody in communities, and you have NGOs closing down, what does it leave the beneficiaries with? So it really is a serious problem, and the call that we can make is for businesses, those that can come to our rescue, and try and support. We will appreciate any form of support that we can get. It doesn't only have to be money. They can donate foodstuffs, non-perishable foodstuffs. They can donate clothes. They can donate blankets, because we're not just only giving people. We're not just using money all the time when we do our responsibilities. We also are giving out material, physical assistance. In the interim, whilst you're looking at long-term solutions for those people. So they can, look into our website and try to reach us, and we'll pick up their calls, and we'll let them know when and where to drop off, whatever contribution they're hoping to be making.
Yeah. Yours is a humanitarian act.
It is.
You say you worked in government before.
I did.
But you decided to leave that and work for this organization. What motivated that step?
No, it's only there's the motivation was only one, because in fact I started in an NGO before joining government, and quite ironically I worked for government longer than I have in the NGOs, and the reason why I left government was because I felt I needed to come into the NGO sector, because I could see the struggles in the NGO. So I thought my experience in government, having worked with the NGOs, I can come and make a contribution. So that was the motivation, honestly, come and make a contribution and also grow as an individual, because I'm sure I personally had a feeling that in government, it becomes a bit comfortable when you work in government. And this is just me, my experience. So I felt that, perhaps I should go out and see if I can challenge myself and see if I can survive outside the comfort that government provides for those of us who felt that way. And I am making a contribution now, and I'm hoping my contribution is actually felt, and I'm hoping to even grow it from here onwards.
Well, we wish you the best of luck and the good that you do for communities out there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mugambi.
Molefi Takalo, CEO of Red Cross South Africa.